Hey guys, it's Karl. Today we're checking out something really cool, which is a multicam setup, because typically as a creator, if you want to up your content, you have more than one angle. So right now, as a little example, we've got A cam, B cam right here, and we even have an over the head rig just to check out what we're reviewing. That camera equipment or that setup alone is tons of money, like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Logitech has come out with something called the Mevo. This is their starter pack. So this comes with 3 individual cameras. You can actually see them right over here. These 3 cameras right here will give you a multi-camera setup, and even with what we're recording with, say for example right now, a lot of that has to be edited in post to get a different angle. With Mevo, you can control that all via an app. I actually have them set up to an iPad right now, and you can change between each of the cameras on the fly. So super useful for not only videos like this, but if you are live streaming, if you're doing a cooking show, if you are doing any sort of content that requires different angles. So you can see how small and compact these cameras are. It's actually amazing what they can fit into such a small package. So it's around 6 ounces, 3 inches tall, and they have a 3.5mm headphone jack on the back and a 1/4 inch connector on the bottom. So if anyone has used any sort of camera equipment, that's kind of the universal mount you need to stick it on a tripod to connect it to, say, an external boom arm. If you want to stick this onto, say, something like a GorillaPod, which you can mount literally anywhere, just screw that in through the 1/4 inch connector, and in 2 to 3 seconds you can now mount this and articulate this around and have it anywhere. It also does have some internal microphones up top, but if you want to enhance the sound quality, it does have a 3.5mm headphone jack, like I mentioned, to connect it to an external microphone. Or if you are someone that loves to do streams, and if you are streaming, you can connect everything via your computer, and you can get something like a Blue Yeti, which is a typical USB microphone, to have your audio as a separate channel. So pretty dope setup, and like I said, one of the best parts is you can rock this completely wireless, and you can set this up without any wires, because each of them has a battery life of around 6 hours. So unless you are a super all-star streamer that is streaming for all day, 10 to 12 hours, which you can still plug these in via USB-C if you need it, you can create a fully wireless multi-camera setup with pretty much minimal extra wiring or minimal extra clutter. And probably the most important thing for any camera is the actual quality. So we are getting 1080p at 30 frames. It's a 76-degree field of view. It's a pretty decent sensor in size. It has stuff like auto white balance. You can shoot in HDR if you want. It also has customer auto exposure, but as I've kind of used these over the past couple of weeks, the easiest thing is the integration. So like I said, it's all through a Mevo app, and you can see that I've got it launched. Super intuitive. If you have no knowledge of tech, if you have no knowledge of multicam setups, you can figure this out literally within 5 minutes. So once I've powered on the cameras, you can see that they are kind of free floating now. We've got the little LED indicator to know that they are on. I've paired them successfully with the app, and right now, so I'm gonna create this really hack setup. So I've got this kind of pointing at me. I'm gonna articulate this to point up at me. So that is camera 1, that should be switching on the display there. Camera 2 maybe will be my second angle pointing at my hands, and camera 3 will be pointing off to this side. So even within the app right now, I am, say, on angle number 1. I can see that within the camera right over here. And I think this is actually the coolest part right now. So if I hit record, I've got, once again, a couple different options. So I can choose to save internally to a micro SD card. I can choose to save that footage to, say, my iPad. Or if I'm doing a live stream, I can just log into my live stream option of choice. So say that's Twitch, say that's YouTube, Facebook Live, whatever it may be, and I can start that stream. And once we've begun, we can actually switch easily between each of the different camera angles. And pressing this little button right here, we will hit record, and you can see the different options of where we're saving it to. So I don't have any micro SD cards in right now because I'm gonna be saving to my iPad Pro. We're recording in 1080, and we will just click record. And right now we are currently live, or I guess recording, and you can see the audio waveforms. I am just recording them off of one specific camera, and the camera that the current field of view is on has this little red indicator light, because technically if we turn these cameras, I'll show all three quickly, if we now switch between the different angles, that light will switch between the three. And once again, if we change this setup right here, so camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3, and I will switch to the main cam right now. So if I were to be recording, say like a YouTube video / we are recording live right now, I could do my intro. Hey guys, it's Karl. We are reviewing the Mevo again, or this Mevo box as an example. So I can be talking to the camera, and if I want, I can switch this to say angle number 2 right there to show off what the actual box looks like. So super useful if you are a one-man crew, and even if you have some help, someone can be, say, off camera and recording the different angles. So once again, the possibilities kind of just rely on what your creativity is, and you can mount these cameras literally in every single angle or different option. So I have a super simple one on a GorillaPod right now. I've got one sitting off on the side, and anything with a 1/4" connector can connect it. So we're actually gonna do a bit of a switch now to the Mevo cams to show you what the quality is like, and we will create a cool setup in 3, 2, and okay, so we're set up right now. You can see all of the Mevo cameras in their cool little orientation. So we have the A cam, I'm gonna use that in quotes right here with the one on the GorillaPod. We have the over the head or the side shot with this little boom arm mic that goes over to the side. And we have our third profile shot in this little tripod setup right here. So everything is running off of the app right here. You can see all of the 3 different setups. And as a little example, we are going to go live. So we are live right now. We are off of camera number 1, or the A camera right here. So for example, I told you I was reviewing the Mevo box. And if we wanted to switch to the over the head rig, we are now looking at what's coming on over top of this little box, and we will do our slow little unboxing. Box top comes off, and inside we have a collection of 3 Pokemon, the 3 famous starters, my favorite Bulbasaur, of course Charmander, and the good old Squirtle inside. Obviously we've got all of the charging cables, like it would be for a traditional unboxing, but technically we are unboxing these little dudes right here, and if I wanted, I could switch to this third camera angle right here if I wanted to showcase some of the products on their own. So there's a little Squirtle. He's missing out on the Squirtle squad, and then switching on over to Bulbasaur, my personal favorite right here, and the third, which everyone loves, I don't really love, good old Charmander. And then we will switch back to camera number 1. So right now, the little red button indicates that we're on camera A, or the main A camera, and we've created a fully wireless setup. This is some of the cleanest and easiest in terms of overall looks, and I guess the hardest part is figuring out where to mount your camera. So do you have a boom arm? Do you have extra tripods that you can kind of raise up and articulate, and you can essentially move all of these in different directions? So like I said, it's really up to you, and the options are endless. And if you want to switch to, say, an external microphone, you've kind of heard what the Mevo cameras sound like. I have a simple plug and play off to the side. I've got all the tech here. And thank goodness I've got all these little mini tripod heads floating around. This is probably a bit more of a hack too, and I will just position this up this way. Now we are recording audio from this little microphone. Obviously it sounds better than what we have internally, but you can always get by with just the internal microphone. So I think this is a pretty dope setup. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Would you ever grab a Mevo kit? Do you guys need a multicam setup? And I'll be creating a separate video, more of an integration, how this fits into a typical PC setup for, say, streaming. And I will just end this stream right here. We're gonna hit stop. And if we wanted to go live, for example, I would just have to log into any of my social media accounts. So like I said, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo, or even on Twitch. And when you are streaming or just actually recording, you can add different sorts of assets. You can add different camera angles. Like I mentioned, if you have different Mevos, so you can buy the starter kit, or if you want 4 angles, 5 angles, that's really up to you. You can add extra cameras, you can add graphics, or of course, different audio. And to be even more granular, you can adjust each of the cameras to have different sorts of looks. So within the settings, you can customize things like white balance, things like exposure. You can even choose to crop in or out. And I think working with a larger display like an iPad makes things easier, but anything with iOS, I think it even works on Android. You can install and switch between the cameras. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little review. It's a chaotic setup, but if I were to have actual real cameras, this would look way more chaotic, and of course cost a ton more money. So if you're interested, I will leave a link down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this multicam setup vid, and I will declutter the set for one of my next vids. We'll catch you then. Peace.